Hello and Namaste. I was less than 10 years old when I first visited Elephanta Caves. It is still etched in my memory. I stood in awe as a guide explained the nuances in each of the imposing sculptures in this man-made cave built over 1,500 years ago. It is here that I fell in love with temples. Till then, I always thought of temples as religious sites where inscrutable rituals were performed. It was at Elephanta that I discovered the beauty, the artistry, the divinity, and the spirituality hidden within a temple. I visited again last month and experienced the same awe and wonder. Elephanta is a cave temple built between the 5th and the 7th century AD. A huge mountain has been carved into a beautiful temple for Shiva. The entire temple and every sculpture in it is a single piece of rock. The architects would have sculpted as they excavated the rock. They had to start from the outside and build every pillar, position every niche and carve every panel without any knowledge of what they will encounter as they dig. A single wrong chisel would ruin the entire temple. Every stroke of hammer had to be literally flawless. Compare this with a structural temple. The architect has this large open space like an empty canvas. He can choose where to place each pillar and each sculpture. He can make changes as the structure is raised. If he makes a mistake, he can replace the stone and start afresh. You have no such luxury in a rock-cut temple. It has to be perfect from the word go. And they seem to have achieved this perfection in Elephanta. Look at the pillars of the Elephanta cave. Look how perfectly aligned they are. They give an impression of someone having carried them and positioned them in perfect alignment. The symmetry and beauty of the structure defies explanation. These pillars divide the temple into 36 choirs, which is a special number in Shaivism. According to Shaiva Siddhanta, there are 36 tattvas or principles of nature which are the building blocks of the material world. This temple symbolically represents the cosmos, with Shiva animating every corner of it. Perhaps the most beautiful thing about the Elephanta caves are the sculpture panels. The Portuguese used this cave for target practice and destroyed and defaced most of the sculptures. Even in this dilapidated state, they are a breathtaking sight. Each panel in itself is a masterpiece, and the way they are arranged within the temple elevates them to a higher spiritual plane. There are 9 panels in the main cave. Each panel shows a scene from Shiva's life. You enter the cave from the north. As soon as you enter, on the right is the magnificent Nataraja panel. Shiva is seen in violent motion, dancing his cosmic dance of creation, surrounded by celestial beings who are watching this performance in wonder. Parvati is slightly turned away, looking almost frightened by the force and power of this dance. Directly opposite to this panel, you find Shiva as Yogishvara. He is the Lord of the yogis, seated calmly in meditation. These 2 panels face each other and hit you with a striking contrast. As Yogishvara, Shiva's cosmic energy is directed inwards, and as Nataraja, it is directed outwards. Every pair of panels are carved with such contrasting themes. Consider the north and south walls. In the north wall, you see Shiva slaying the demon Andhakasura. He looks fierce and frightening with his teeth protruding. He is holding a sword in one hand and a bowl in another to collect the blood of the Asura as it flows from his severed head. On the opposite wall, you find Shiva in Kalyana Kolam. He is getting married to Parvati and Brahma is officiating his wedding. Similarly, in the east entrance, there is a scene of domestic bliss. Shiva and Parvati are playing a game of dice. On the opposite wall, there is turbulence. You find Ravana lifting Kailasha and shaking it. These dramatic contrasts give full expression to Shiva's contradictory aspects. The highlight of Elephanta Cave is the Sadashiva sculpture. It dominates the interior of the main cave and attracts your eyes from every point within the cave. It is 7 meters high, the largest sculpture in the cave and also the most puzzling. You can see only 3 of the 5 faces of Sadashiva. You have to imagine that the rest of his body is embedded in the mountain and he is in the process of emerging from it. This is the only panel which has Dwarapalakas, which emphasizes the centrality of this image to the temple. Unlike other panels, this does not have any accessory figures or distractions. The only thing you see in the panel are the 3 faces. These 3 faces represent the 3 aspects of Shiva as the creator, preserver and destroyer. You see subtle but visible differences in these 3 faces which highlight the 3 aspects of Shiva. Let us look at the central face. It is Shiva as the preserver or sustainer, the power that keeps the cosmos functioning. Here he is depicted as an emperor with an elaborate crown over his head and grand jewels around his neck. Even though he is running this huge enterprise, his face is calm. His eyes are closed in meditation. He appears untouched by the chaos of the universe. The face on the right represents Shiva's creative power and hence his feminine aspect. Notice the femininity in the face. It is fresh and calm with fleshy lower lips. The eyes are looking down at the lotus held in his hand. Ringlets and curls of hair peep out of the crown. The third face represents Shiva's power of destruction. Here he looks vengeful and angry. He has a hooked nose, a twisted moustache and a cruel mouth. His eyes are staring at a cobra held in his hand. His hair is cascading down his ears in violent curls. There is a serpent near his ears. The contrast between the 3 faces is depicted with such artistry that it takes your breath away. In this panel, Sadashiva's powers are expressed in terms of contradictory moods: peace and violence, charm and anger, sensuality and austerity. It reinforces the theme of the entire temple. It visually represents the inner mystery of Shiva, a god who is full of contradictions. Another mystery about this sculpture is that this is the only one which was not defaced by the Portuguese. Every sculpture in the cave bears the evidence of the destruction which they inflicted on these masterpieces. The only exception is Sadashiva. It is in pristine condition. Why was this one spared? No one really knows. On one side of Sadashiva, we have Ardhanarishvara, Shiva as one half and Parvati as the other. The Parvati half is holding a mirror to her face and the Shiva half is leaning on his bull Nandi. Notice how the 2 halves seamlessly merge together. On the other side of Sadashiva, we have Gangadhara, Shiva capturing Ganga in his matted locks. There is a central shrine facing the east and the west entrance which hosts a Shiva Lingam. It has doorways carved on all 4 sides and magnificent Dwarapalakas framing each entrance. This is only one of the several caves of Elephanta. This island was originally known as Grahapuri, meaning a city of caves. The Portuguese found a huge carved elephant when they entered this island and hence named it Elephanta. Many Western travelers have written extensively about these caves. One of them even speculated that the sculptures of Elephanta actually depicted a different race of giants who carved the temple. He felt that it would not have been possible for human beings to create this structure. Temples like Elephanta reminds me of man's timeless quest for immortality. Having survived hundreds of years of repeated conquests, pillaging, and willful destruction, they still stand tall and proud, inspiring awe and wonder in every person who enters them. While the people who carved them are long gone, their spirit endures in these sculptures. That's it from me. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and press the bell icon for reminders. Share this video with like-minded people. Until next time, Namaste.